Hi, Ann.
Hello, hello, Livingstone.
Yeah, good to hear from
Yes,
you.
yeah, good to hear from you too.
Yeah, how is it going?
We are well, still
Yeah,
managing
yes,
COVID-19. We are now almost getting used to the new
yes,
normal, as you can see with my mask here.
yeah,
The new normal, the new normal of the mask. We are
yes,
somehow getting it until when you don't have it,
yes,
even if you're in the house alone, you feel like there's something you don't have.
yeah. So that has become
Yeah.
our new normal now.
It has actually become our new normal.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so what do you have for us today?
Okay, we'll be talking about the dysfunctional families,
Yes,
especially at this time of COVID-19,
yeah,
where now everybody is in the family, or at least people are spending more time in the house.
yeah,
The dysfunctionality is really now made manifest. Before people are out,
mm,
and so they'll either meet in the evening or not meet, and
mm,
when they are meeting, they are in a hurry to leave again. So, but you find out this time when people are in the home, the dysfunctionality can really be manifested.
yes.
Yes, yes.
So it's now more prevalent than during the other time before COVID-19.
Seems like the other times it was kind of it was down,
Mm,
it was like hibernating,
okay.
but now it's so much, it's out.
Uh, and maybe you can also begin maybe by introducing yourself, maybe for our viewer who maybe they don't know you.
Oh, my name is Ann Ticha. I'm a
Yeah.
counseling psychologist, and I specialize in the area of marriage and family,
Hmm.
loss and grief, and trauma, and also adolescent counseling.
Okay.
So, of course, I'm a general practitioner, but I have a bias mostly on families, because one thing about about counseling, you find that even when individuals come, why I got interested in families,
Mm.
it's because when individuals come for therapy, I always realize that I need to see the father, I need to see the mother, I need to see also the sister, something like that. Like today, I had a session with a father who came for session,
Yes.
and he wants to bring his daughter. He thinks his daughter needs counseling, but
Mm.
on listening fully at the presenting issues and what have you, I realized the whole family is actually sick.
Okay. So
Yes.
they are, and also I'm seeing you are now that. Just tell us about the book. I'm sure there's a book you're almost releasing.
Yes, I'm working on just basic counseling skills, because that is where it starts, on
Okay.
the basic counseling skills. Yes.
Yeah. So we really look forward to see the book, and I'm sure it will really enrich our lives. So, and my name is Livingstone, Pastor Livingstone. I'm a
Yes.
pastor with the Revival Missions Church, Roiro, and I'm also um, in my profession right now. I'm a head of training in an aviation training in Wilson Airport, and
Yes.
I think I'm also another. Just released our first book
Wow,
on
I saw it
leadership.
on Amazon.
Yeah,
Leadership, yes.
yeah, and it's in Amazon. So if anybody is interested, it's 43 challenges of church leaders, and it's a
Mm.
whole experience of my experience from the corporate world and the ministry, and it's a good read. So maybe let's just go back to our topic today. Does
Yeah,
it
it is
mean
good.
that every family, sorry, does it mean,
Kindly,
go ahead.
does it? Let me just plug in my laptop. Just a
Okay,
minute.
no
So
problem.
that doesn't go before we finish. Yes. Yes, I'm through that.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, you are back. So maybe a question, does it mean that every family has an aspect of being dysfunctional?
Well, no, not. We have, of course, when we have the word dysfunction, we also have dysfunction, which means having problems.
Mm.
We also have functional, which
Okay.
we can say they have relative. Okay, there is no family that is 100%. Of course, even A in school does not start at 100%.
Yes.
But what happens is those families we say they are functional, even if they have challenges, at least they are able to solve them. They
Mm.
are able to work out in a way to mitigate the
Uh,
effects.
okay.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, so we can maybe that is the introductions. I think we've already done that, and
Yes.
maybe just go on and take us what you have for us today.
All right. So we have my session today will be based on one theory. We have, by the way, very many system. We call them system theories for marriage and family. Why a system? Because a family is a system.
Mm.
A family comprises of course, the parental subsystem, the marital subsystem. Parental meaning parent and family, the spouse and the spouses, or maybe just the parent, who is
Mm.
in case of single parent families.
Yes.
Then we also have the sibling system; those are the children. Then we have the marital system. Marital system meaning the spouses, the husband and the wife. So that's why in family therapy we call it system therapies or system theories.
Uh-huh.
Now with the marital system, with system, when you talk of system theories, therefore these are the theories that look into the functionality and of the families.
Mm.
So there are several. We have very many of them, but I've chosen one. This one of human validation process model by Virginia Satir. This
Yes.
model kind of combines all of them.
Mm.
If you look at her tenets, Virginia Satir, if you look at the tenets of her, or the key concepts of her theory,
Mm.
it kind of brings in all the theories. So I thought for this session, because of course it's a short session,
Yes.
we dwell basing on one theory. You know, one thing in psychology,
Mm.
we always have the theory that we base on our work on. That is because it has to be evidence based. You know, it has to be research has been done.
Yeah.
And for research, having had the research, of course, the researcher comes up with a theoretical model, or with a process of how they've gathered their data. So that is why I specifically chose this Virginia Satir, because it encompasses all the others.
All
It's
the
kind
others.
of a yes.
Yeah. So what
So when
maybe just to what you are saying is for this theory, human validation process theory model, for it to be accepted, she had done a lot of research on families and
yes, yes.
validated through research that the theory holds.
Yes,
Okay.
it's actually through research. Because
Okay.
in psychology, we always deal with evidence based. You know,
Yeah.
what is the research? When you are making propositions, at least they must be backed by
Mm.
research on the ground. And that is why we keep on doing it. We keep
Okay.
on doing research, yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so with the Virginia Satir observation, she looks at a family which can be relatively called dysfunctional, is whereby we have emotional deadness. What does it mean? This means there are no feelings, there are no, people are just there. Just like the way trees can be in the forest. You
Nobody
know how
cares.
trees can Nobody is caring about the other. Even if one tree is cut, do
Uh,
the others more? Do the other trees just like that?
it can be
So
that bad.
nobody. Yes.
It can be that bad.
Well, I think I told you maybe from my origin, from my first degree was literature. So
Yes.
I do a lot of analogy, relationship with, because with the literature we say you use what is known to explain
Yes.
what
What
is
is a no?
unknown.
Yes.
Yes. So it is okay. It may not be exactly like the trees, but that is a near analogy
Yeah. Yeah.
to
People
yes.
have no feelings, even if somebody is going through a hard time, nobody cares.
Yeah, in fact, somebody may not even note that the other one is having
Ah,
issues. It's like one of the theories that Satir quotes from Bowen. It says that people are just occupying the same space.
wow.
You know,
Mm,
it's a question of your roommates.
mm,
In
wow.
fact, less than roommates, because roommates at least will ask each other where is the soap or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this one are just there. Mtu anatoka and somebody leaves and goes on their own without really the other one,
Yeah.
without
Knowing.
the others noting.
Mm,
And this is also what cold affect can mean. Cold affect. The relationship is very, very cold. Even when the exact emotional beat is there,
mm,
it cannot really be manifested. Maybe it only comes in when there is extreme cases, like for an illness or something like that. When
mm.
one is seriously sick, probably that is when the others will come in. But
Yeah.
that's period, yes.
So the
So
family is
again,
just, yeah,
yes,
it's just cold towards one another. They are just there.
yeah, they are less interested. They are so to speak disinterested with each other.
Hmm.
So you find don't enjoy the family. So in this case, the children do not enjoy their parents'
The parent.
warmth.
Mm,
Their parents do not enjoy their children. So this is whereby you find there could be fights, you
mm,
know, and mostly also there could be drug abuse.
mm.
Probably if one spouse especially is abusing drugs, so you find at the whole family may end up being dysfunctional.
Mm.
And even if where there is some kind of show of caution, I mean of affect, it is only when maybe there is an outsider. Have you visited a family? They
Yeah.
really put to mass. Pretend they are very good, but when the visitors leave, they go back to their
they, they they go back to where they had left.
they speak from where they are the rest of news by mouth, not
Yeah.
speaking.
And actually,
Lack
it's
of
where, yeah, in
yes.
such families, they are always wishing, for a visitor to come, at least so that there's some warmth.
Mgeni jo mwenyeji apone. Say that in Kiswahili.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, so lack of warmth. Couples live together in quiet desperation. This is whereby somebody feels, if only I'm just here because I don't have
Yeah. There's
anything
no
else.
option.
There is no option.
Yeah.
I just have to be here. Yes.
Mm.
And even they live in a way that it's kind of one is kind of waiting just for a small trigger for them to explode.
And
You
then the
know?
volcano explodes.
Yes, yes. In fact, like what we are seeing in the news, like maybe a mother wakes up, hugs his children, hugs the spouse, or the other way around.
Yeah.
This is not a one-day affair. The person didn't just wake up one morning or just wake up in the middle of one night. No,
Mm.
this is something which has been simmering like a cake. Not the way we bake cakes.
Mm.
Unaiweka kwa fridge, I mean kwa oven
Yeah,
na
oven.
unaifunika.
Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah.
you just time the minutes that the cake will do.
Mm.
Then you just so you later on go check. So in an oven, you don't just put in a cake and remove.
Mm.
Video.
Mm.
We put it and wait for it to cook. So
Yeah.
this is what happens with the dysfunctional families. Adults don't seem to enjoy their children. This is whereby you have had some adults really insulting their children.
Yeah.
You'll find
Even,
like especially
yeah.
the women maybe because they've been assaulted or maybe they have issues with the spouses.
Mm.
They project it on the children. they will insult them, call them anything, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and they display the anger
Yeah,
on
the
the
anger, yeah.
children.
And the frustrations they vet on the kids.
Is meted on the children, and also maybe the children now they may also respond. In fact, in the dysfunctional families,
Mm.
children are the ones who perform, unfortunately, the role of the dysfunctional roles, as we shall see in our next session.
Okay,
So
and
there is
maybe,
basically
yeah,
a
maybe,
question.
yeah, I have a question. Does it,
Mhm.
from Satir's, observations, does
Mhm.
the dysfunctionality increase maybe with the age of the family, whereby I've observed maybe where maybe the kids are gone and the mzee, there is the mzee and the mom there. You kind of see maybe the warmth dies. They are not enjoying, and maybe there are maybe anger and triggers that bring in a lot of issues.
Yes, you know what happens? Most of the psychological maladjustments
Mm,
are not they don't go with the time.
mm,
Unlike maybe other issues which can go with the time.
mm.
They instead accumulate. Like now, if people have problems with when they are at the family, when they are at maybe the honeymoon level of their
Yes,
marital relationship,
when the
when
family is
they've just
young.
2 years, below 5 years in marriage,
Yeah.
maybe most of the families there is love and warmth.
Mm,
But if it breaks at that point, you might find, and they will never go for counseling, you
mm.
might find it graduating to all the other stages. Such that, in fact, personally, I've had cases of
Mm,
adult couples
mm,
who want to divorce.
mm.
Adult couples, adults,
Yeah. So their
not
kids
adults,
they are grown.
the age of our parents, yes?
The kids are grown and they just want divorce. They've brought
Yes,
up the kids.
we call that particular stage of family empty nest.
Mm,
Empty nest. When now the kids are gone, either they've graduated school or they are married. They are not living in their care. But you find now these people want to separate. Why? Because you remember that the previous point there.
mm.
Couples are living together in quiet
Oh,
desperation,
desperation. Yeah.
meaning they are waiting for just these kids to finish school
Mm,
and I just go. So you will find problems because they have not been solved. They keep on accumulating. It becomes like exactly what we say from a small molehill,
mm.
it becomes a mountain.
Yeah. And,
Yes.
and maybe still another question is it, because in our African tradition, it was rare, for such people, people in
Mhm.
marriages in that level, to talk even about such issues as divorce. Is it because of
Yes.
the westernization and people are able now to express, they say, I'm not living again in this quiet desperation. I want my freedom. Is that the reason
Mhm.
why we have
Yes,
such?
and maybe now that you brought it up also, that's
Yeah,
a good point.
yeah.
People say, like now our generation, when we were growing up, our families were very functional,
Mm,
far from it.
mm,
What now used to happen, like even in the traditional African society, the dysfunctionality was still there.
mm,
But the issue was the cultural aspect. The cultural aspect, for instance, if what was a divorced woman, the
mm.
divorced woman, what was her place in the society? If the person divorces, what was her place in the society? She was a social reject,
Mm,
a social misfit.
yeah.
In fact, the Kikuyu term for that, you know the Kikuyu term for a lady who has divorced?
What was it? Ishokio? No, I don't know. Just what was it?
Geshokyo.
Ah, so I'm right. Okay.
Geshokyo meaning,
Mm.
Geshoki even it's first of all derogative because
Yeah,
of gay.
yeah, yeah. It
Instead
is.
of Musokie. Maybe if it was Musokie, the one
Yeah,
who is returned is better. But gay means it's derogative
yeah,
in Kikuyu.
yeah.
the syllable game. So
Yeah.
meaning this is the one who is that person who is useless was
Yeah.
returned. So
Yeah.
because of that, people would just
Okay.
persevere
Yeah.
in a abusive family. And in fact, and that is why the stereotype that women were happy when they are beaten. There is
Mm.
actually that stereotype. It's nobody who can really enjoy being beaten. But
Mm.
that stereotype is there because of the cultural aspect.
Mm.
So the dysfunctionality has actually been there since time immemorial. Even look at even the Bible, for instance,
Yeah.
Abraham's,
Yeah.
not yes, Abraham, his own family. There was a bit of dysfunctionality because of
Yeah.
Sarah not
Yeah.
giving birth. So Sarah thought she's going to, this particular husband
Mm.
to maybe get children.
Yeah. And
And
brought in Hagar.
therefore, and brought in Hagar, yes. And eventually, we know what happened with Hagar.
And Rita
She,
complained, and she is the one who started the whole thing.
that is it. So you see, there was now that particular aspect, there was a dysfunction,
Yeah.
even in that particular family.
Yeah.
So in our traditional culture, the dysfunction could not be pronounced. Maybe as you say, today, because of course influences, there's education level, people don't stay in one place. There's a lot of
Yeah.
cosmopolitanism.
Yeah.
People, if they such a people stay like now in your home, Roiro, your neighbor, even you don't know, probably okay, they are not even from your village, definitely
Yeah. Yeah. They
where
are
I
from
stay.
different parts of the world. Yeah.
We are coming from different parts of the world. I've just told you I had a Zoom meeting with a lady from Ireland. So
Yeah.
there is a lot of connectivity
Mm.
today
Mm.
and awareness.
Mm.
Awareness is there because whatever was seen as okay, I have learned. Oh, so if I stay in this home with this dysfunction, I'm passing it to my children.
Yeah. Yeah.
What am I teaching my children? What are my children learning subconsciously?
Mm.
That it is okay to stay in a dysfunctional home. That
Yeah.
it is okay to beat my wife. That it is okay to beat my husband. That it is okay to do all
Mm.
these things. So therefore, I need to do something about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and actually,
Yes.
yeah, I think that's very true. And maybe from a biblical perspective, I think the other thing I saw is God loves us so much, regardless of the
Mhm.
dysfunctionality that we have. I was looking at the
Yes.
story of the family of David. It was full of so many dysfunctions, all the way from
That.
Judah,
Mhm.
the Tamar. That's another story, all
Mhm.
the way to Rahab. A prostitute
Yes.
who marries to the family, and Ruth,
Mhm.
a Moabite.
Mhm.
And they
Uh-huh.
were known for seduction, and she comes in, and they become the parents of David. And so
That's
I think one of the things is, regardless of how dysfunctional, I think there
mm-hmm.
is still hope for change. And I think
Yes.
God doesn't look, he still loves us the way we are. I don't know. That's what
Mhm.
I think from a biblical perspective.
Precisely. And again, God is a God of second chance.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody comes back to Him, they'll definitely be given a chance, like Samson also.
Yeah.
So there's still that opportunity to repent. There is that opportunity to start all over again.
Yeah.
Yes.
So go ahead. The causes.
The causes of dysfunction, according to Virginia Satir, in fact, her model is also called communication.
Mm.
It's called human validation process model, but it's also called communication model. Because to her, families also get dysfunctional because of having improper communication. For instance, there is a blaming. Blaming. Pointing fingers.
Yes.
Pointing fingers. Nobody will take responsibility of. Nobody will take responsibility. Always be pointing fingers
Yes.
on somebody, on because of this one. Yes, in fact, even in the Bible, we also have that. Is it not so?
Yes.
That it is the snake. You remember the snake and
Yeah. Our original parents.
the snake. Our original parents. It is because of this wife that this woman you gave me. It is because of the snake. It is because of this. So now you find we have a lot of blame, and therefore nobody is taking responsibility.
Yeah.
That is one of them.
Yeah.
Then the other one is placating. What is to placate? To placate, it's where somebody pretends they are okay. We have placaters. To placate is to pretend everything is fine. Mostly, placaters, just like blamers, they do not want to point out the problem. You've seen these people who will talk as if everything is fine. They will position themselves like all is well. They'll even praise the other spouse or the other.
I thought that's a strength. You don't want to show weakness.
It's a weakness.
Because as a man, I don't want to portray myself, complaining and wallowing in despair. I placate that things are okay. Is that wrong?
The problem of placating is it is temporal.
Oh.
You will get tired and bereft.
Yeah.
So when we have open and honest communication, from there, now you can talk, you can praise each other, you can talk good things about the other person, now in full awareness. But the placating now is where you are fake. You are hiding
your emotions.
You can see destructive communication in smothering feelings. You are kind of hiding the real feelings. Unasikia watu wakisema, you heard people say, and the way that couple was good. You heard people say that. Like in cases whereby there was, if like when it's reported somebody has killed the spouse, the neighbor, what do the neighbors say? And the way that couple was good.
Yeah, they were very good.
Yeah, they were walking here, they love each other and all that.
So the issue is there were a lot of placating there.
Yes. There was a pretense, kind of pretense. Yes. You are saying very nice things about the other person or behaving. It could also be, communication, it's not necessarily by word.
Yeah.
It can also be behavior. You are behaving as though you are happy, as though everything is good, as though your partner is very good. And by the way, Pastor, this is what happens in church.
Yeah. It's in church we put our best faces, and the best thing is to get them in church. Yeah.
The Sunday best faces.
But they say fake it until you make it. So maybe I think that's the concept.
Yes, you fake it in awareness.
Oh, in
like
awareness.
Now,
yeah.
I tell my spouse that whatever he's doing is not right, and probably we are open, honest discussion. But still, even with that honest discussion, you still feel this person, you don't like them. But you've already talked. You've already decided to give each other a chance. So inside the situation now, you can now fake.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. That's a good point. And especially for us men, because in African tradition, we are wired to be strong. You know, we don't reveal our real emotions, and
Yes.
even when we are suffering, we, you know, we have to be strong. But I think, as you are saying, it's destructive.
Yes, yes,
We
it
need
is
sometimes
actually
to
at
come
the
out
end, at
open.
the end of the day.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, it's destructive.
yeah.
You need, you know what here it is. Whatever you are doing it in full awareness.
Mm,
But the problem in families mostly, people relate in unawareness. You know, they are not aware of
mm.
why they are doing it. Yes. So they continue to propagate the dysfunction, then
Okay,
to perpetuate it.
okay.
So
Go ahead.
we can go to the other one.
Yeah.
Being irrelevant. Now this one, being irrelevant,
Mm,
is this person red hair. There is a fallacy,
mm,
a kind of a fallacy called red herring.
mm.
Red herring is if we are talking about something, we are
Yes.
talking about one thing,
Mm.
but I'll bring in other things which are irrelevant.
Oh, huh?
You see, like let me give a case.
Yes.
For example, one spouse, maybe they are talking about, probably one spouse says they are not happy about what
Mm.
the other person
Is
is
doing.
doing.
Yes.
So this other one, the one now the accused,
Mm.
will bring in other issues.
Oh, just to divert attention.
Good. In fact, to divert attention.
Mm.
Because if they face the attention,
Yeah.
it's hurting.
Yeah.
So they will pick in anything else. And they may even pick a very old quarrel,
Yeah.
you see, and
Where?
bring it in.
Yeah.
And
I-
bring it in
Is
here.
it a survival tech? It's a survival technique. Maybe it's wired
It
in
is a
us.
survival mechanism.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, that's why I told you I like Virginia Satir because she brings in kind
Yeah.
of all the other theories.
Okay.
It is survival mechanism. Being you see you're still smothering the feelings. You're not letting them out because the reality is too hurting.
Ah.
And then of course being super reasonable. Super
Mm.
reasonable now is the one who, for instance, somebody says, so I'm not happy about this and this, and they say, that's just a small issue,
Yeah.
really an issue, and anyway, I'm sorry, but let's talk about serious business, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
it is also called intellectualization, the defense mechanism of intellectualization,
Yeah.
whereby you are making everything, you are trying to explain everything from quote unquote because it's not the logical point of view.
Yeah. 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 You're not. It's like you're assuming the emotional. You know, you're belittling everything whichever the other partner is raising.
Actually, the word is belittling.
Mm.
Belittling,
Yeah.
yes. And you know, I've seen it, like even in movies, by the way, or in soap operas. I watch, I
Yeah.
watch soap operas,
Yes.
and you know, to sometimes even I do analysis of my own analysis, and I'm like, gosh, that one is exactly super reasonable, you know. When you watch some of them,
Yeah.
like that, I thought I quote for Maria,
Yeah.
the
The current
in
yeah,
town.
the one we watch in Citizen. Yes.
Yeah, the current in thing. If you look at the gentleman, the William,
Mm.
Mr. William, he's really super reasonable. He
Mm.
can get super reasonable and placating. Very
Yeah.
good at it.
Yeah.
I think his function. He's
Yeah.
very good at placating and super reasonable.
Yeah.
So, but
And
the
I
problem
think
is not the. Mm-hmm,
I think from my experience, maybe as a pastor, and maybe the issues I've had is men men tend to be, especially in our African African society, to
yes.
belittle and to see the things raised by the ladies and their wives, they just like assume. They can't actually see the reasoning behind it, and they kind
Yes,
of
yes.
brush it aside, and it brings a lot of issues. And I think it's their upbringing. So I think the key lesson is, if somebody raises something, don't berate it and don't assume.
Don't assume. Don't assume. In fact, functional families, they decide, they have meetings. Like now, I'm sure in church, with your church committee, you normally meet, studio,
Yes,
to plan,
yes.
to plan, like now, this is our
Yeah,
year,
like now the
year
reopening of
2020.
churches.
Yes, I'm sure in the year 2019, December, probably you sat down to
Yeah,
see, to project for the year and all that.
yeah,
You are also in Wilson, the aerosave.
yeah,
I'm sure you also sit down and plan. Which trainings are we going to have?
yeah,
What are we going to do for this year? You
yeah,
plan like that.
yes,
And when you see such companies, they function because they are planning ahead.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, people are very good at that in their companies, but
Mm,
when it comes to their home, why don't they do the same? Have a deliberate meeting.
mm,
We'll be having meetings on Monday. We'll be having meetings on Sunday evening. We'll be having our weekly meeting,
mm,
to iron out, to look at where are we for this ed week, or even if not possible, weekly, monthly.
mm,
But those families which, especially like now during COVID-19, most people are together, although we know there are some who are also separated,
yeah,
and because of the restriction of movements.
yeah,
But you find that we can decide to communicate. You can decide to have a family meeting, maybe like
yeah.
the parental subsystem, the marital subsystem, because that's where the problem starts. We
Ah,
sit down. Can we talk about our issues?
yeah.
Where are we coming from? How far are we doing this? What the projects do we want to do? What are you not happy about? They bring in the issues, just like the way we have staff
Ah,
meetings. Even in my teaching career, we do have staff meetings.
yeah.
We sit down and see how do we project for this semester.
And
What units are, because who is going to take which unit?
yeah,
So that we can have a smooth learning environment.
yeah.
But we find in families, the backbone of all this
It's
does not
conflict.
do it. People don't even talk.
And
We
so
just
maybe a question is, which I think is a very big question, because in communication they even say in leadership is the blood life of an organization or leadership. Why is it hard to have constructive communication in families, yet it's so easy to do it in our companies and organizations? Is it we take people for granted, or what's the reason?
Of course, it's one taking for granted, one not putting a lot of effort in it, and
Yeah.
of course, being unaware.
Unaware, yeah.
Yes, that's why we are creating this awareness.
Yeah, and I
Some
think that's a very good.
When I'm doing family counseling, I always give them homework.
Yeah.
I want you to go out. You don't have to maybe spend money. You can
Mm.
decide to take a walk in your estate or in your village or somewhere. Just that.
Yeah.
Come report to me what you talked about.
Oh, go and communicate.
Go and go. Just go and say something.
And maybe another question, maybe from your point, why is
Yes.
it so easy when people are in the early parts of their marriage, they are dating? It's so easy to communicate, but as we grow in marriages, it becomes a bit difficult. Is
It's
it
a,
familiarity brings contempt, or what?
yes, yes, it's familiarity breeding contempt, and also the fact that you didn't have a proper program right from the beginning. I think
Oh,
the other day we had a discussion with counselors on our WhatsApp page, and we were talking about premarital counseling. All
mm,
these things should be brought about in premarital counseling.
mm,
That these are the expectations. This is what you need to be doing. You need to be having regular meetings. You need to be talking like this. You need to be discussing these issues. But you see, in premarital counseling, what happens? It doesn't even happen.
Yeah.
Premarital counseling. Okay, and all is not lost. Even people can still begin afresh.
Mm.
They decide, they do a deliberate effort.
Okay.
It has to be deliberate effort because we are the same people who are very good in corporate world. We are
Yeah.
the very people who are very good in outside, in charge.
In the
By day
business,
in
in
charge
church,
of
yes. Yeah.
in businesses. But when you come to our families, we kind of assume things will run.
Mm.
And also the other challenge, I also mentioned that to my client today,
Mm.
stereotypes. The
Okay.
other problem that challenges is the stereotypes. You know,
Mm.
women from Nyeri are like this.
Ah,
Women from Boo are like this.
yeah.
Men from Muranga, men from, you know, women.
Yeah, I know. I'm from Rift Valley. They say, men from Rift Valley are very good.
They are romantic.
And they know how to farm. They don't complain, So this stereotyping is not good.
Yeah, when you now bring it in there are people who operate in their homes with the stereotypes, very
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Simply because you saw one case, and then now you say, oh, so you are
Yeah.
saying that because you want to, like, I'm not, you want to
Yeah.
sit on me. You want to, I can see how you are coming. You want
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
Like what your people do or what have you. So
Yeah.
I think those stereotypes, not unless now the positive ones.
Yeah.
Like more positive ones, like women are romantic, something like that.
Yeah. I know.
Which can help them.
Yeah.
But still, I would wish families would build their own family as a unique family, just like the way Pastor Livingstone.
Yes.
You pastor your church,
Yeah.
you pastor your family as Pastor Livingstone,
Yes.
not even your bishop, like your
Yes.
bishop. Because
Yes.
that is the challenge you're having. People want to, what my boys are saying, what my girls are saying, that
Yeah.
is what I want to say. No,
Yeah.
it becomes unfortunate.
Yeah. So I think the key issue as we conclude this, right, is, we need to be authentic. Yeah. And,
Yes.
this stereotyping reminds me of a talk. There's a very nice talk I usually like in TED. TED Talk. It's about the
Yes.
dangers of a single story. This
Yes.
thing of stereotyping people, like
Oh,
Africans are like this, you know. So I think that doesn't add value, and that's destructive
mm,
communication, which actually will
mm.
bring in the dysfunctionalities in our
Actually,
family.
authenticity is a thing, as you have said it, being real and being vulnerable to each other. Vulnerable means, like if your wife
Mm.
is you allow her or she feels she's allowed to make a mistake. Do you know
Yeah,
there are some homes when making a mistake is a crime?
yeah. It's not everybody makes mistakes. Yeah,
But it's there, yeah. So I think being vulnerable to each other,
yeah,
that it's okay. You can make a mistake and
yeah.
we can talk about it. But
And even
in
make fun
some,
about it. I mean, I think that's what I've learned to do. I make mistakes, I share, and I make fun.
yes. Okay, so we also, these are all other the causes. I think previously we had also talked about self-esteem issues, maybe
Yeah,
depending on where somebody is brought up. We also have drug abuse. This is key also. We have family of origin, socializing process. You know where you came from, how you are brought up, how was your family. You subconsciously brings your family of origin to your home.
mm.
It can't work, or it will work dysfunctional.
Can I ask you a
Personality.
question? Can I
Yes.
ask you a question that I'm usually asked? Some
Mhm.
young man was telling me that if you want to know you are the girl, somebody maybe they are dating, if you want to know how they will turn, just go and see how their mother. or your mother-in-law, exactly that's a replica of your wife and some years to come. Is it really true? Or is it an indicator, maybe?
Okay, not I would not say replica, because replica means exactly a photocopy.
A clone. No, it's not a clone. Yeah.
Yeah, a clone. So they mean a clone. Okay, but what I may say definitely has a bearing how you are socialized. Sometimes even me, because now sometimes I am, I'm very conscious.
Yes.
I look at the way I do things. Sometimes when I'm alone, I critically analyze.
And you see your mom.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So now, that awareness is very important. Even, the way you are brought up. How was your family? Like now I may say here, there's something called multi-generational transmission process. It happens that, like if your family was dysfunctional, a higher percentage.
Yeah, it's highly likely.
Highly likely, highly
Yeah.
likely. So that's why we need to check. We always have a background check of families when we are dealing with counseling families.
And maybe we extend it even in marriages. I mean, before you get married, just know. So I think this thing of meeting somebody in Nairobi and you're committing.
Just getting married, you need premarital counseling, because in premarital counseling we talk about all this.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. So then when churches open and there will be marriages, I think in your church you can make this.
Yes, yes. Very important. Yes, yes. It's important, it's awareness. And the awareness, and because information is power, and these are serious commitment you're making. You don't make a decision and later you realize you made the wrong decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we also have personality differences. I think one of the days we'll also have a talk on personality types and differences. People are not aware. Maybe some of them are sanguine, outspoken, some are melancholic. Do you know these people who are very strict? If they put their things like a cup is supposed to be kept in
they
a
want
separate
it where they left it. Yeah.
The plate have
but funny enough, they will attract the guys who are very careless. It's an attraction. I think it's a way of nature balancing.
Yes, but then now again, we also find if one is not aware, then you always have conflict. Especially if it is a man who is melancholic and the wife is something. Anafuta vikobe ziko kila pahali. And he's like, what kind of a woman did I marry?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, so we talk about this in premarital counseling.
Yeah.
Of course, another point is religious differences. This one happens. And this could not just be religious as in Christian Muslim or Hindu Muslim. It could also be, even with the Christians, we have different sects.
Yes.
Yeah. One is a Catholic, the other one is a revival mission,
Yeah. And the issues arise.
Issues arise.
That's true.
If you remember in the church of Corinth, is it just the church of Corinth?
There are so many divisions. Yeah.
And all that. So differences. It can be a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
We also have financial management. This one is very common, but of course comes as a result of others.
Yeah.
Rigid roles.
And actually one of the days we'll really handle this, because it's a big issue in conflicts in homes, and depression and stress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you have rigid roles and structures, or too permissive.
What do you mean by that?
So, like now, we have roles in homes. Kama saa hii, people are at home, maybe not much going out. So who is responsible for kitchen work? Who is responsible for washing? Maybe if they have a family car, who is responsible for this? Who
Yeah.
is responsible? Because we have those roles.
Mm.
But when again they are too rigid, it can be a problem because somebody can, Livingstone, you can be in the house and your family members are not in. But now you will wait for them. You are very hungry,
Because I
but
say
because you
my
can never sit in the kitchen.
yeah, and especially like I think in the African setup, maybe for a man washing dishes, maybe it's an issue.
Issue. So, and it becomes an issue, a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. While again, when it is too permissive, it's also a problem.
So you need a
And
balance.
yeah,
You need a balance.
we need a balance. We
Yes.
need a balance. So this is my role, yes. But should I need you, I think I know you are available, you will come
Yeah.
in. My role to pay school fees, but should I need you, you will come in. My role to do household chores, but should I need you, there is that in a functional family, the roles are, again we do this by the way.
Yeah.
We don't preempt. We look at the functional families.
Yeah. Yeah.
Starting with the dysfunctional.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that we can bring people to awareness. But
Yes.
we also have functional families and functional family roles. I think we'll look at that, yeah? Okay, then we have sexual problems. This again can be a cause and
Yes.
can be an, what do we call them? Causes and effect.
Yeah. Causes and
Or
effects.
causes and consequences. Consequences are effects.
Yeah. Yeah. More kind of effects. Effects
Yeah?
of something. Yeah.
So sexual problem can be either
Yeah.
cause
Mm.
or effect.
Mm.
You see all these dysfunctions, we can see if they are there. Sexual problems will be there.
Yeah.
And that's why I've said, as we come to the end of part one, family dysfunction is cyclic.
Mm.
It can on, it doesn't have to be so linear.
Oh.
One problem can be brought by another. You know,
Oh,
we can
and
have
it leads to another.
yes, can have religious differences because of personality differences, and then that one can bring financial management, or maybe that one can be as a result of rigid roles, and you know all that. It's not linear thing.
So maybe a question: when somebody comes, if I come to you and I have and you identify I'm having a dysfunctional family, how would you pick out which one case I'm going through? Or is it through that's a technique that you'll have so that you point out the area that I'm having challenges?
It's a skill. We use the skill of exploration.
Yeah.
I'll ask you questions. I'll explore and I'll be able to pick what are the issues.
Okay. But what if I get you right as we finish is maybe it's cyclic, one reads to another, reads to another, reads to another. So they may be functional, but maybe it all started with one and it wasn't handled at the right time.
And also cyclic in this sense, you can transfer it to your children when they grow old and get their homes.
Oh, they become like you.
Yes.
Oh, that's a bit scary.
It's the generational transmission process. Do you remember Abraham?
Yes.
Abraham lied that Sarai is not his wife.
Yeah, Isaac did the same.
Isaac did the same. Then also Isaac was also found.
Yeah. That's
wife,
true.
because they lied that Joseph, not Joseph, the son of the promise.
Yeah.
Jacob.
Yeah, that's true. Even David had issues, integrity issues, and it went to the son and to his sons.
Yes.
Yeah, the dysfunctionality can be spread. Yes.
Actually, for David, he was just favored by God because it's at his son's time. That is where now the kingdom was
split.
torn into two. It broke. Yes.
Yeah.
And the dysfunction, by the way, continued in his family.
Yeah, it was there.
Look at even, by the way, he killed Uriah so that
Yeah,
he can marry
yeah,
Bathsheba. Then
yeah,
what happened to his own family?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
the son
yeah.
raped the sister.
Yes,
In
yes,
his,
yeah.
yes,
Wow. So thank you so much for, I've really learned a lot.
yes.
I think these some of the messages you listen again and again and again just to, to learn. And I've seen even areas I need to improve communication, and especially that point that you can be very good in corporates and out there, but maybe you don't put
Yeah.
the same emphasis in communicating in your family, and it can
Mm.
lead to these issues. So thank you so much.
Yes.
I really appreciate your time
Mm.
and everything. God bless you.
Thank you. I was also happy to be here,
Yes.
and I'm sure I'll meet you in the next part two. And I know even our viewers, at
Yeah.
least we, we've left them there. Our part two is about dysfunctional roles. So our viewers, make sure that you look out
Yeah.
for part two.
Maybe before we finish, maybe you can end with a prayer, maybe for dysfunctional families out there. Somebody maybe
Yes.
they've listened and they've seen, the areas they need to improve. Maybe you can just do a prayer as we wind up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Our Father, in Jesus' name, we are
Yes.
so grateful for giving us this particular platform
Yes.
to even speak your word to your people, oh God. We thank you for the discussion that we've had. We know there are several families who are sick, who are ailing, who do not know what to do. But God, we thank you then as they watch this. You're
Yes.
going to give them insight. You're going to give them revelation of the areas to work on, of the areas to improve. And all
Yes.
the glory and all the honor will be unto you. We
Yes.
thank you. We worship you. In Jesus' name we pray and we give you thanks.
Amen. Amen. Amen.